underground, but the light still shines. Yeah. Underground sports guru, speaking from the soul, yeah, we need you. Calling every play with a purpose, turning every field to a service. We're running this race. You
Welcome to
need
episode
us
2 of the Underground Sports
in
Guru
our
Show.
heart, in
This is
our
your host,
heart.
Louis Bernhardt, and today's guest is former University of Miami track and field athlete, Elans Daviglas. What's up, Elans?
What's going on, Louis?
Thank you for joining the show today, man. Today we're just going to be talking a little bit about your story and how you came up growing up in Miami, the section that you grew up in Miami, and kind of like your perseverance, your struggles, your trials and tribulations. So I'm looking forward to getting into this. So first question, man, the Daviglas, man, where does that name derive from?
Yeah, so there's about 20 different stories for about 20 different of my family members. But what I do know is my dad's original name was Tonga, which in Spanish, doesn't mean the best. So then he decided to change it to be more professional, and he came up with that name, Daviglas. So if you have that name, you're a part of our family, for sure.
Okay. And where's your father from, if you don't mind me asking you? What's his background?
So he's his father was from Upper China, and then his mom was from Bolivia. And they sent him to boarding school and stuff like that. But he met while they were in Bolivia. His parents met, and conceived him.
All right. Tell us a little bit about your mom.
My mom, she's crazy, but she grew up down here, Miami, 119th, Westview.
Okay.
Her mom was from Wales, but her dad was from Atlanta. But she lived in Miami her whole life.
Okay. And you say crazy. I know we had this conversation before. You say crazy like she had you and your brother on lockdown, right? Like GPSs before GPSs existed, that type of thing, right? That's what you mean.
Crazy as in, had us on lock, but also crazy as in she gonna say what's on her mind.
Okay.
And still to this day, whatever's on her, she gonna speak her mind. Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So you grew up, you told me you had a half-brother, right? You also have a half-brother that's a little bit older than you or a few years older than you. Can you tell us about him a little bit?
He just turned 54. His birthday was this past week.
Happy birthday, man,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah. But he grew up in Westview on 119th. My mom had him when she was 16.
Okay.
So he grew up real different from me and my other brother. Because she was still, a kid. He grew up more with my grandma, who, like I said, lived on 119th. And he, parents not really being there, grandma being grandma, and he kind of, streets kind of got to him. And he started hanging around the wrong people. And he was an athlete, man. He was a quarterback. But like I said, skipping school, things like that, and got involved in the streets.
I can understand, man. 16 is a really early age to have a child, but your mom did her best, right? And I think there's some lessons that she probably learned from having your brother at that age, and then along came your brother after, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about him a little bit,
No, yeah. So for sure. So that's why being older now, seeing how my mom raised me, I get it. Even having kids of my own, I get it. I'm actually grateful for that. You know what I mean? Even though at times, we fight our parents on stuff, but now being older, now being older, I see where she was coming from. And then I have another brother who's 2 years older than me. He he's one of those guys that grew fast and then stopped growing.
Okay.
So he was always about a foot taller than me, and we were outside every day. Back in the day, that's how we were, outside playing. So I always had to keep up with him in sports, and but we have a close relationship. That's who I grew up with.
Okay. So he was the you would say more like a positive example, since he was there home with you, and he was a little bit older. So you kind of got roughed up a little bit, you can say, right? And learned some of the tricks of the trade as far as like athletics, and you had like a barometer, right? A litmus test when it came to your brother that you grew up with, as far as in athletics, right?
Yeah, for sure. He always kept me in check, that's for sure. He was also more like a father figure to me as well. But yeah, when it came to sports, like I said, I was always competing with him. and I mean, he always brought the dog out of me because I was smaller, I was skinny, and he was bigger. But yeah, I mean, I even to this, I mean, now, in high school, I started growing a little taller than him, and then I started whooping him and everything. But back in the day, yeah, he was my competition. He was my competition.
We'll get there. So 119th, man, that's the Miami Shores area. Would you consider
No,
that?
no, that's Westview.
Westview, okay.
Right, but that's more where my grandma lived, and I would be over there like every weekend, and that's where my oldest brother grew up. But come elementary time, yeah, I lived in Miami Shores, and I went to Miami Shores Elementary.
All right. And how was it growing up in Miami Shores, like the parks and that whole upbringing for you? How was that?
So the parks always had good athletics. I mean, I think even to this day, so that my mom got me into basketball early, got me into baseball early, made sure I stayed busy. But yeah, so that's where I was playing that in Biscayne Park, that area. That's where I started playing sports.
Okay. And what sport stuck at first for yourself?
At first, well, and still to this day, I'm still baseball. I tell people that's my first sport. I still play softball to this day. And I was just a natural. I remember playing in not Pee Wee, T-ball. But they moved me up to coach pitch with my brother. So I was playing with my brother. And yeah, that was a sport that came natural to me.
Okay. Now you spoke about your mom, giving you guys some more direction as she had you guys at a more older age than your eldest brother, and you guys were put in a particular school. Can you tell us a little bit about that school and when you started at that school, and if you can remember how it was at that point when you started that particular school?
Yeah, no. So people that go to Miami Shores flow into Horseman. And since my brother was older, he went in there first, sixth grade middle school. And yeah, they put it at a magnet school, but that just meant like they get out 5 minutes earlier. They were still mixing with all the other kids, so and that school was a problem. So then my mom didn't want us going, probably seeing people that go to that school, thinking about my older brother Artie. My older brother Artie. And so she got us out of there. And back in the day, she actually used to go to the church, Northwest Christian Church. So she knew about the school, and then she ended up putting us in there. And at first it was something I had to get used to, because we weren't really going to church, reading the word, you know what I'm saying? And we didn't even know how to look for verses in the Bible, you know what I'm saying? So we were learning all this stuff, but when it came to athletics, this school was it. They had, even church league programs. They had baseball leagues. They always had every sport going on.
Okay.
So it was nice in that transition that we could actually stay in the school and play the sport that was going on in the school.
Right.
Yeah.
So what was the first sport that you played when you went to Northwest Christian? Was it still baseball?
No. So basketball season, I think was first, because of football season, but I was too skinny for football. I always played on the streets, with my brothers, and flag football. But there I played basketball, and I played previously at Miami Shores. And I had some good coaches. It was fun. It was more that, get the ball 4 wide, do your thing kind of thing, which I was used to, playing at the parks and stuff. And I was like, okay. So I enjoyed that. Yeah.
So what would you say was your best athletic trait, right? Going into your time at Northwest Christian, what made you different than most kids?
Yeah.
'Cause some are fast.
Yeah.
Have some strength, right? So they use that to their advantage. Some are agile and athletic. What was your gifts?
Man, I was a jumper.
Okay.
I was jumping out the gym. I'm talking about like middle school, trying to touching the rim.
Man.
Touching the rim, then later on in high school, trying
10-foot
to
basket, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. 10-foot basket. Yeah. 10-foot basket.
Middle school, yeah.
Yeah. So that I was definitely a jumper. Athletic too. I was fast, but I wasn't the fastest, like track fast. You know what I'm saying? But I was quick, and I was strong, skinny but strong, but definitely jumping. Like no one could hang with me when it came to jumping.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there's a ball up there, football, I'm getting it. I'm putting a hand on it before anybody else. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So basketball wise, so that's the first sport that stuck with you, right? Did you play anything else at Northwest Christian?
Okay, so my 6th grade year, we tried out for the middle school team. Me and my boy Paco, we were the only 6th graders to make the team. Okay. I remember first, second game, we sat in the bench. He's letting the 7th, 8th graders play. I get it. boom, like when my boy Derek Parker, he dropped the ball out there in the outfield. Boom, dropped another one. Coach is like, yo, get in there, take a spot.
Shout out to Rick Parker,
Yeah,
man.
shout out to Rick, athlete.
Great athlete, great basketball player, great football player.
What's
As fast and as tough as you can be. So no shade to Rick.
no.
Elon had to take your spot in the outfield, so we had to talk about that. No, it's all good, man. We just speaking real, man.
So come like maybe a week, 2 weeks later, boom, taking the 8th grader spot, center field, running the outfield. So that, like I said, that baseball came easy for me, came natural.
Okay.
Came natural. But yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you continue with basketball too, right? Because you say you can jump a little bit, and anybody knows Miami Northwest Christian at that time, they had a great basketball program.
Correct.
Always deep into the playoffs, if not going to states. So was that like the sport that you wanted to key in on as you got into high school?
So I would say I was probably better at baseball at the time, but my passion was basketball, even to this day. I mean, I still play 2 times a week. You know what I mean? That was definitely the sport I loved. Yeah, for sure. Shoot, every injury I've ever had was from basketball. Every injury.
We're gonna get into
We're gonna get into that. Correct. We're gonna get into that.
So you played for Coach Anthony Pujol, right?
Anthony Pujol.
Yeah, at Miami Northwest Christian for the basketball team. You had several teammates. One was on episode 1,
Yes, sir.
Jose Rodriguez, and a few other guys as well. You mentioned one in Paco, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Wadner Joseph as well, right?
Eloise Ramirez.
Luis
My
Ramirez.
boys still to this day.
Definitely.
To this day, they're my boys.
Can you tell me a little bit about you making the varsity squad? What grade were you in when that happened, and how was that for you? You know.
So my 10th grade years, but I'd practice with them, and then even in the summertime, I was playing with them. In the summertime, my 10th grade year, then the 11th grade year, then that's when I started fully integrated with them. But let me tell you, man, it was Tony Pujol knows basketball, and he's passionate about it. And it was, like I said earlier, with that, hey, 4 wide, do whatever I want with the ball. You know, that was totally different from what he taught. You know, he actually taught basketball. We actually running plays to the T, defense. There's no messing up on defense. You know, I credit my basketball knowledge to him. He knows the game. I mean, he's still coaching collegiate level. Yeah. I think they just beat one big school the other day. But that was definitely not what I was used to. You know, I'm out, and I'm balling in Miami Lakes Middle. Shout out to Miami Lakes Middle. I was the man out there.
Miami Lakes Middle, Miami Lakes Optimist Park.
Correct.
We used to get some good runs in there, right?
Correct. So I'm used to that, playing like that. You know how I can do what I want. So it was definitely a transition, and I didn't handle it the best. I was nervous, you know, especially seeing how intense he was, you know. And then, you know, I kind of messed around. Loquito has some stories of us, you know, off court, playing around, you know, stuff like that. So
being teenagers, man.
Correct. Being teenagers.
It's really like nothing out of the ordinary, right? And a teenager can relate as far as, you know, when you're growing up and you want to, you know, get into some, you know.
Yeah. So yeah. So, you know, I started getting in trouble a little bit. So my minutes started dropping.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wasn't playing as much, which also played with me a little bit. Like, hey, you know, I know I'm better than this. I'm used to playing every minute of the game. Now I'm over here on the bench, you know. And I slowly started working my way back. Shoot, there, you know, funny story. Here we go. So I was slowly working my way back, and man, I was 44. I mean, full court press.
Yeah.
And man, I like guarding the big guys because I could jump with them.
Yeah.
And them quick guards, one up back, I'm gassed.
Yeah.
I'm gassed. So I'm over there like, I'm not going to tell coach to take me out. He's just giving me these minutes. And I'm about to throw up. Man, they swing me the ball. I'm wide open. I'm not lying when I say I shot it, and it had to be about 5 feet from hitting the rim. Everybody laughed. Even Coach Joe saw me. They all laughed like, yeah, we see your gas. You know what I'm saying? So, so yeah, I was working my way back, getting my minutes. Shoot, I remember I had a game at versus American where it was a tournament game. Pinned the ball on the backboard, boom, on a fast break. Playing well. About maybe right before districts, man, my knee started feeling a little funny, and I just cut it off the baseline. Boom, plant, put my hand out, and next thing I know, I'm on the floor. partial tear in my ACL.
in your ACL. Did you know that initially? Was it that it was a torn? Did you feel a pop? What was like the sensation? What was like the level of pain? If you can describe a little bit what
Right.
that felt
So
like.
man, my adrenaline's going. Coach takes me out, and I'm just on the line. I'm out on the sideline, like, man, hey, coach, I'm ready. I'm ready to go back in. You know, and I'm used to playing hurt. I used to hurt my ankles every other week. I used to shoot. There was times where I was walking around with my ankle braces on, just going to class because I had a sprained ankle, and kept on playing on it. So I was ready to go, but thank God he didn't put me back in because come to find out, when I went to the doctor, got an MRI, partial tear.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was that recovery process like? Was it like a full surgery that you had on your ACL? And this is your junior year,
This
correct?
is my junior year. So no, the doctor said just strengthen the muscles around it, take some time off. But me being me, I might have took like a week and a half off when I should have probably took a month. You know, and like I said, we're about to get into playoffs, so I'm playing well right now. So we're doing a drill. We're playing, going over our defense, playing offense, and boom, I hit a move to the layup, finish the layup, and then that little move I did, I was like, ooh, my knee, 100. Don't say nothing. Then we do this drill where you're finishing at the layup, they have a big pad, and they're hitting you, so you imitate the contact. Shouldn't have done that. Boom, did a layup. Next one, go up. Boom, got hit. Cack. ACL torn.
So this time it was a full tear.
Full tear.
Same knee or a different knee?
My right knee.
The right knee.
My right knee. And that one I felt it a lot more than when I partially tore it.
Okay. So the partial tear, just to be clear, the partial tear was on the left or the
No, right knee.
Everything was a right knee. So you had the partial tear on the right knee, and then it fully tore on in that drill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was there surgery after that full tear?
So talking to doctors, and then let me say that I'm also a left-footed jumper.
Okay.
And I guess I land a lot more on my right. So I'm a left-footed jumper, and I'm not a 2-foot jumper. I jump off my left foot. Left leg. So then, no. So I'm talking to doctors, and they're like, "Hey, you could continue as long as you're building, the muscles around it and this and that." And I don't know, I don't remember fully, but I just remember at the time, like, my people didn't really want me to go through surgery.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I was still young. I don't really remember, but I just never remember, like, I don't think I really need it, because like a couple of weeks later, I'm walking fine, and I'm still jumping. It was more the landing part, so yeah. But I definitely wasn't playing basketball for high school right there.
So that injury was again your junior year or going into
Yeah,
year?
my junior year, right before we were making the run to go to states.
Wow.
So I was on the sideline, just watching them, cheering them on, that road to states.
So how was it going into your senior year, your rehab process in the summertime and getting ready for your last year of high school? And if you can talk about a little bit about the not just the challenges, but just maybe the uncertainty that you might have faced during that time.
Yep.
And not knowing, what was going to be going into your senior year. I'm sure you had some college aspirations and you had maybe some goals that you wanted to set for yourself, and all that was maybe looking a little bleak, right, at that time?
Definitely. So I feel good. I'm telling them, hey, I can play. Yeah, I might hurt my knee because I do it at the park all the time. Hurt my knee. I'm out for a week. The swelling goes down.
You're one of those kind.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I can keep playing.
Super competitive, and you're gonna fight through whatever little injury that.
Correct. So I'm telling them this, and like I said, being older now, I see where they're coming from. They're like, you should not be playing. We're not, we don't want you to play, get hurt again, and then it's kind of like on us. You know what I'm saying? At the time, I was like, come on, I'm telling you, I'm good. I should be good. This is my body. I felt like that, but I get where they were coming from, so they didn't let me play. I remember them telling me, yeah, you could be like the manager and this and that, and I was like, yeah. I was like, come on.
I.e. water boy, child boy, and you weren't doing that. Nothing wrong with people that hydrate the athletes and make sure that they're taken care of, because they play an equal part in everything as well. But somebody as competitive as you didn't want to take that role.
Correct.
I assume.
No, definitely not. Especially like I said, my boys, and my boys would have been clowning me. like give me the water. Elon, do this. Come on, man. We right here on the same level. But yeah. So definitely that hit me. Cause yeah, man. I mean, I thought I was gonna play college ball. I thought I was good enough to play some college ball. So then I was in my life right there. I was trying to figure out what am I gonna do. I was like, man, should I go start getting into baseball? But then at that time, our school was in trouble. Because there was one kid that was ineligible. He was older than what he said he was. So our school was like on I think 2 or 4 year
Probationary period
correct.
around that time.
Yeah. So I couldn't play baseball.
Right. And
So man, I'm just sitting there like, man, I don't know what my next step is. But I know I want to play. I want to do something at the next level. I'm athletic enough. So at PE playing basketball. And I remember, I went to a Christian school, Northwest Christian, and we do chapel. We got to dress in our ties, this and that. And I had some Timberlands on. And I just remember, like, this whole high school career, I'm trying to dunk. I got small hands, so I can't grip the ball. So I'd have to cuff it, you know what I'm saying? So one time I got up, and I was like, man, I got up there. I said, let me try 2.
you're getting close.
Yeah, I mean, I've been close, but at this time I was like, oh, like I'm right there. Like you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me try 2 hands. And I just go out there, whoop, and I put the ball in. And in Timberlands, yo, facts, Timberlands, boom. And I was like, dang, let me try now jumping and turn it around. Boom. Did a reverse. No lie, man. I could bring my boy Paco in.
And Elon, how tall are you, Elon?
At 5'10" on a good day.
On a good day?
On a good day, 5'10".
That's impressive.
Yeah, my wife would say like 5'8", 5'9", but I'm 5'10".
You're 5'10",
Yeah.
with shoes on.
With you. So then the PE coach was also the track coach, Coach Paul Howell, he's at Calvary Christian, coaching track still. He was like, hey man, why don't you come out the track? And at the time, I'm like, man, I ain't doing nothing. Come out and do some jumps for us. So I go out there. We don't even have a track. We practicing in the field. But it was like a football field and baseball field. We practicing. I don't know what I'm doing. We pull up to Day Christian when they still had the track. Okay. And I'm just in shoes. And, I might have watched a video or two, and seen some kind of like what her approach was. And I go do it, boom. And I think I started at like 5 feet, and I eventually got to 6 feet. And my coach was like, hey, that's pretty good. We should order you some spikes. And so I hit my mom, she orders me some spikes. So the next meet, I got some spikes. And I think I jumped 6'6". And that's when the coach was like, hold up. Now,
we got something here.
Yeah. Like, that's just not normal,
Like, Yep.
At my second track meet, just jumping 6'6". And then eventually I started, we started watching video. He started taking me to Day Christian's track so we could practice some stuff. And then boom, I started jumping 6'8". And that's when the buzz started happening. My boys started coming out to meets. Everyone started, like, hold up, you got something here. So it was a good feeling coming from man. I don't know.
You don't know what's going to go on, what's going to happen, going into your senior year, and you get this opportunity to use some of the gifts that you've been given, right, and things that you developed to be able to have this opportunity now.
Correct. So then one meet, man, I'm feeling good. Boom, I jumped 6'8". I win the meet, and they're like, hey man, you want to raise the bar up and just go for something. And I was like, yeah, let's just raise it up to like 6'9". And I think when they measured it was like 6'9" and 3/4, almost 6'10", or maybe 6'9" and 1/4. I don't remember. And boom, I clear it. Then that's when next thing you know, I got the top jump in Florida that year. So now Harold's reaching out to me. My coach is telling me, hey, I got some people interested. You thinking about maybe doing this in college? And I was like, wow, man. Now looking at it, I was like, wow, man, this is kind of crazy. Like I really had no idea what I was gonna do, and this door opened up.
Right.
So yeah, then like I said, man, they started reaching out to me. But I also did long jump too. I was putting like 22, 23 out there, nothing too crazy, but something decent. And colleges started looking at me.
Yeah. Okay, so you speak about the Herald. That's the Miami Herald, right? Which is the newspaper for Miami-Dade County. And they did an article on you when that happened, when you cleared that that height of 6'9" or so,
Mm-hmm.
and the article was called "Jumping Out of Nowhere." That had to be exciting, coming from, tearing your knee basically twice to having an opportunity to break or set a state record at the moment for the year, and then some of the college offers started coming in there, is what I gather, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was when they did that article, I read it and I was just remembering like, man, wow, this is a blessing. You know what I mean? I was like, and yeah, I mean, it felt good, man, because we were used to winning championships, and now I got an opportunity to go back to states, but then I'm kind of like on my own, and then the people telling me I can't do this, I can't do that, but now you know what I'm saying. So I was definitely happy about it, man, and yeah, it was a good feeling at the time, yeah.
What were some of the schools that were coming after you at that time?
So I wanted to stay down here. Why, I don't know. I think because I was just born and raised here, man. That's all I know. You know what I'm saying? So looking back at it, I was like, man, I wish I would have, experienced something different than Miami. But Miami's born and raised.
Crib,
I ain't
man.
leaving. Exactly, I ain't leaving. So I stayed. I looked at FIU. I went on a visit there. I went to visit the UM. Georgia Tech had a good jumping program, so they were looking at me. But like I said, I was staying down here. And so I was talking to my coach, like, where should I go? Because they were giving me a partial scholarship. They didn't have as many
School scholarships when it comes to the other
Right. I think they had like 3 full they can give, but they broke it up. So it was gonna be a partial scholarship. I mean, a decent amount, like maybe 65% or something. It was gonna be something decent. And FIU was offering the full, But then my coach Paul Howard was like, hey man, if you get an opportunity, if you get an opportunity to go UM, and not a lot of people get that opportunity. And when he said that, it hit me. I was like, man, you're right, man. And I'm glad I went with them. Yeah.
Okay. So for those who may not know, like most major universities, the majority of the big scholarships are usually in football,
Yeah, football.
basketball, and even baseball. But baseball has some partial scholarships as well.
Right.
Is what I understand. So when it comes to the other sports, it's not full scholarships. A lot of guys either walk on or have partial scholarships, or they have some sponsors. Is what I understand.
So what I remember, man, it was a long time ago. But I think the football team had like 100 scholarship. I think we had like 3, and I think the baseball team had like 11. You know what I'm saying? So even they're divvying it up, and I don't remember the basketball team, but they had less, and they were all kind of divvying it up. I mean, obviously they're gonna give the full ride to the. Like Tim Harris, shout out Tim Harris. He had the full ride, which I get. You know what I'm saying? He was the man. So yeah.
Okay, so how was your experience when you got into University of Miami? Was it like a fish out of water experience, or was it like more your pace, since you're coming from a private school? And University of Miami, for those who don't know, is a private school. It's not like a big state school, so maybe the enrollment is not as much, but I'm pretty sure it's different than going from Northwest Christian to University of Miami. Tell us a little bit about that experience, on and off the field.
Yeah. So let's take it back. But I told you my mom was crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, we ain't do much. You know what I'm saying? We're allowed to do much. So when I got to UM, no man, it was total freedom, not what I'm used to. And I want to say that year, my 05 going to 06 was like, I think UM got like the party school year. You know what I'm saying? I think I want to say that, or maybe it was the next year. But I remember that happening. Shoot, I remember there was hurricanes hit that year too, and you would think the school was shut down. I mean, the school did shut down. Sorry, you would think we won't be allowed out of our rooms. No, they were bringing in DJs and having hurricane parties in the dorms, like at the bottom. Like it was crazy, man. Listen, it was what I wasn't used to. It was a shock to me. So did I handle it well? No, I did not. I felt like I wasn't prepared for it. You know what I mean? Going to a private school, small school. I think my graduating class was like 30 kids. And then going to, UM wasn't as big. Everyone knew everybody, but definitely, people from every part of the United States, was there. So it was a lot of different cultures there. And yeah, man, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it, man. A lot of partying. A lot of just living like the world, man. Going to a private school, I had these verses in my mind. That
when we speak about verses, like we're talking about Bible verses,
correct. And
because you went to a Christian school,
correct.
Yeah.
That would always hit me, man. Just hit me out of nowhere. Like, man, be in the world, but don't be of it. And I'm looking at my boys next to me, and I'm like, man, we just doing the same stuff. There's no difference between us. So, did I have fun? Yes, I did. I did. Listen, did I meet like boys that I'm with till this day? Yes, good connections with people. But was I living how I should be living? No, definitely not. And when it came to sports, man, I balled out my freshman year. Jumped 6'10", 10 and 3/4, almost 6'11". But she rose the bar up to 7 feet. Didn't get it, but I was supposed to be a 7-foot jumper. But we'll get into that. But made it to ACCs. Or finished top 8 at ACCs. Made it to regionals. Qualified for the Junior Olympics. I wasn't used to such a long season and all the traveling, and I was tired, so the coach kind of shut me down, which I kind of wish I would have went to the Junior Olympics to get the experience. But so I had an awesome season. But once again, man, and people that know track know there's a lot of sitting around. There's times where I'm just sitting around, waiting for someone else to clear a jump for like 20 minutes later, and boom, popping in my head, different Bible verses, man, and I'm just like sitting there like, why am I thinking about this right now? You know what I mean? But it's because I know what I was doing wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward, I'm in the gym, man. I put on about 20 solid pounds of muscle. I'm jumping crazy.
You're in a college weight room now.
In the program. We in the program, eating right. Food court. All you can eat.
And not to stop you in your tracks, but go ahead. Speak about a little bit about the coaches and what coach did you have?
Oh yeah.
And the development part of that.
No, 100%. So
in track,
like I said, I never did. I don't know if I said it, but I never did track a day in my life. But athletic. Always played outside. Always made up games. I played every other sport. Flag football. Basketball, baseball, all that. And coming forward, I was like, hold on, man. I lost my train of thought.
But it's all good.
Hit me with the question again, Lewis.
No,
my coach. I got it. Yeah. My coach.
Your coach at UN.
Yeah. So athletic. I never did track. So my run, man, I was doing butt kicks. While I was running. Had an awesome coach, man. Awesome coach. He was a sprinter. JJ Hunter. I think he ran like a 10-point something.
Okay.
Like he knew what he.
Anything under 11 and 100 meter is blazing fast.
Yeah.
And everybody knows that down here.
Yeah, he was that guy. Right. So he was my first coach, and he was the one that recruited me. Awesome guy. And even to this day, man, I live up to his expectations when coaching, because there was a time where he had to take a phone call, and he's like, "I'm so sorry, I had to take this phone call." Boom, took the phone call, and hung up. And he's like, "Hey, so apologetic. This will never happen again." He's like, "I am so sorry." And at the time, I'm 18 years old. I'm like, "Hey, man, coach, don't worry about it." No, he's like, "No,
Not a big deal, right?
Yeah, he's like, "No."
For him, it was a big deal.
For him, he's like, "No, this is your time." Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I respect that. So even to this day, when I coach, man, I'm like, hey, man, I think about JJ Hunter, man. You a real one, man. So I try to live up to his expectations. But he was a sprinter, and he fixed my run. And now, when you see me run, I'm looking smooth. I'm looking like Usain Bolt out there. You know what I'm saying? Form wise. So he fixed my run, because I actually had a hamstring. I pulled my hamstring running, too, but it wasn't that bad. But it was because I was running, not the right way, improper. So he fixed my run. So yeah, and then he was a big part of why I got right into the weight.
Top 8 in ACC,
correct.
Your freshman year. That's big. Atlantic Coast Conference is a competitive conference.
Correct.
It's a Power 5 now, Power 4 conference, but back then it was a Power 5 conference, right?
Yeah.
Major conferences with the Big 12, SEC.
Mm-hmm.
You got the ACC.
Big name,
right? So top 8.
Like I said,
Junior Olympic qualifier.
Yep.
You were starting to get your weight up in a college weight program, and eating what you should be eating.
Correct.
Even with all that, right? The partying lifestyle, you were still seeing the effects of a college program, a Division I college program.
Correct.
And your hard work as well.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, the facilities, shoot, I go back now, man, they hooked it up. I like they have jacuzzis, they have an indoor facility for the football. They had jacuzzis now. I said, man, where was this when I was here? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, they had top notch facilities for sure.
Okay, so fast forward now back to like towards the end of your freshman year, and you're qualifying in the ACCs and all this.
Okay, so like I said, I was tired, from all the traveling. I wasn't used to all this, and the coach shut me down. And he was like, hey, man, we got 3 more years, like you did awesome for us. I was like, all right, cool. I'm forward to, because I expect to even keep on growing more, So like we said earlier, my first sport might have been baseball, but my passion is basketball. So I'm in summer leagues, going to the where the students play.
The open run.
The open run shooting. So, some of the basketball players be going out there. Jimmy Grant was out there. Dennis Clemente, I played against him out there. You know what I'm saying? We out there hooping. Boom. And like I said, man, I'm top notch. Lay up above the rim, all that stuff,
Yeah.
Someone does a lazy pass, and I'm like, oh, let me go get this. Jump up, come down. Tore my ACL. Summer of after my freshman year. And this time it's my left leg, the one I jump off of. Yeah.
I can't even begin to imagine what that felt like. What was running through your mind at that? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, one I was scared because my homeboy Darnell Johnson, another jumper, they had just said, hey man, we're not going to give you the scholarship no more, because he was messing around. He didn't do so well. He was messing around in classes. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, hey, I wonder what these people are gonna say. So I gotta go tell my coach. And so I'm in his office. I remember calling him, and then then he's like, all right, go to the doctor, see if it's really torn, this and that. I went to the doctor, and then I met him in the office. I was like, yeah, man, I tore my ACL. He goes, I don't know if he talked with the head coach, but I just remember him saying, hey, you did well for us. We like your attitude. We're just gonna get you the surgery and bring you back, and not change your scholarship or nothing. And I was, that right there was a blessing. So I was relieved in that sense. But then now, I'm like, dang, okay, I got to do this surgery. And like I said, this is my jumping leg now. This is the important leg, So yeah, I mean, so after he said that, I felt a little more, relaxed.
You were at ease.
Worried, yeah, a little more at ease, right? And so yeah.
Did you question God at all during that time? Because you have your foundation of going to the Christian school, and you said the verses would run through your head during track meets and different points, and knowing that you weren't living righteously, you can say, or how God wanted you to live, or your mom in any case.
So what's funny is, like we said earlier, my older brother, the one I grew up with, he was like kind of like a father figure to me. He would always tell me, hey man, you ain't coming to church. You ain't coming to church. I would use that excuse. It was really because I was out partying at Saturday night. I need to sleep in on Sunday. I'd be like, oh man, track, school, I'm tired, and I didn't feel like making that ride over from Coral Gables to North Miami. But I would pop up from time to time. And I remember the pastor at the time, he knew me. I had him for Bible class in high school and stuff, so he knew me. And I remember him saying to me, he's like, hey, if you jump for Jesus, you would jump higher. And at the time, I just laughed it off. I was like, yeah, I know. But now looking back, like, man, a little part of me said, I definitely was not jumping for Jesus. That's for dang sure, with the stuff I was doing. So, no, but at the time, I was more just like, all about me, man. I was like, I got to do my rehab. I got to get right. You know what I'm saying? Like, look what I did, man. I killed it in this. I killed it in that. Like it was more about me. But yeah, I mean, I would still get little, but that was more on not the athletic side. That was more on the curricular activity side. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I see. So how was that rehab like? You finally had this surgery now. Well, again, with your left knee, your jumping knee.
Mm-hmm.
How was that rehab process?
Man, let me tell you, I was living in the training room. I'm talking about every day, probably like 3-4 hours in there. And I still, to this day, lost a little degree measurement. Like I can't bend it all the way. But it was at first, man. It was tough. It was tough at first. It gets better, you know, once you in the process. You know, after a month or so, you know you're walking normal again, this and that. But I remember at the time, I always have a good attitude. Listen. You know, I'm used to injuries. Growing up, my whole life, I got injured. Broke my collarbone, ankles, everything. So you know, I always had a good attitude. But like, I'm gonna bounce back. But was it tough? Yes, it was definitely tough. And even then, like so I sat out my sophomore year. Going into my junior year, man, listen, they say 6 months to a year, but to fully recover, even mentally, man, it takes about a year and a half.
18 months.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I mean, definitely, you know, I credit to it now because like I learned a lot of things in the training room that I still use to this day. I go do my leg presses. You know what I'm saying? Do stand on the Bosu ball, balancing. You know, so all these things I
Give you some disciplines, so to speak.
and I still use it to this day. You know what I'm saying? So you know, yeah. At the time it sucked, but now you know I'm kind
Looking back at it, you were able to do something.
Mhm.
So you're your junior year now. You're fully recovered, and tell us a little bit about that transition into your junior year.
So I wouldn't say fully recovered.
Okay.
Okay, because I was still like going to the training room, heating my knee up before I went out there. And you know, jumping still wasn't I wouldn't say 100, man. I when I say 100, but it's still my junior year I jumped. I think it was 6'9". I think it was 6'9". No, man, it was 6'10" because I think I did make it to regionals. So I regardless, I jumped. I think the same that I jumped my freshman year. You know what I mean? So I didn't digress. So I was happy about that. Yeah.
So you got to where you were before, at least.
Mhm.
So you had built some strength back in your leg, and basically now you're trying to reach that 7-foot mark, which is the goal, right?
Correct.
Okay. So your junior year, how did that go? How did it play out overall?
Man, junior year went by so fast, man. I recovered. Yes, I still, like I said, not 100% mentally either.
Yeah.
But did get my strength back, and like I said, I did well. I think I finished actually third in ACC because I think the dudes that beat me before, they were seniors and they graduated. So now I was like, okay, it's my turn. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me, and I still jumped well. You know, I was always a good, consistent jumper. And so I did well my junior year. Yeah, I scored points for the team. You know, all that. But yeah.
And at the end of junior year, what's the senior year looking like? What's
So they brought in a coach, Calvin Robinson. He was at LSU. They brought him over, and I think he even coached someone in the Olympics, a jumper in the Olympics. So this guy knew what he was talking about.
Shout out Calvin Robinson.
Still coaching. Don't know where yet, but don't know where, but he is. So at the time at they were redoing the track, but he said that didn't even matter. He said we're not gonna see a track the whole off season. We're not seeing it. So we were doing workouts on the stairs. We were doing workouts in the grass, and it was all different type of workouts. A little jumping stuff, working on explosion. You know, he knew what he was doing. So right before winter break, you know, we get the 2 weeks off for winter break. We go to Tropical Park, and that's kind of where the other people were practicing at. And they have a high jump pit. I mean, it's not like official. I mean, it was a good size, but I don't think it was like the official size. He's like, hey, let's do an approach. I was like, all right, let's do it. Lewis, when I tell you, I flew over I don't even know what height it was at, but I flew over it by a foot, and half of my body landed on the mat, and the other half almost off the mat.
Wow.
And we both looked at each other, and I was like, whoa, that was a little dangerous. And he was like, yo, shut it down. Shut it down. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what height it was, but I was like, yo, I'm jumping crazy right now.
So he was impressed with how you jumped, and you didn't have to do anything else. Is basically what you're telling us?
He said, shut it down. I was like, man, let's shut it down. I was like, I almost missed the mat here. Like, it was that crazy. And in my senior year, I was like in my freshman year, going into the locker room, changing, and going straight to the track. I wasn't going to the training room, heating up, stretching. I wasn't doing any of that. It was straight to the track. I was back. I would say I was back mentally, physically, 100%. 100%, yeah. And it was a good feeling, man.
You had fully gotten past the ACL tear, your third, really.
Yes.
And you were at maybe the peak of your athletic prowess, would you say, at that point?
100%. 100%. So we get 2 weeks off in winter break. You know, they give us a workout to do. Not everyone does, you know, but I said, you know, instead of working out, I'm gonna go play some ball. You know, look, like I said, man, that's my love, man. That's my love.
There's a theme here. There's a theme here.
Right. So, boom, man. Like I said, finishing above the rim, man. I'm jumping crazy right now. I'm finishing my layups every which way. Oh, you know what? This one I don't really remember how it happened. Ooh, what move? I think I did a move, and it just threw it off. But boom, this one was a partial tear. I had to call my coach, and I'm like, man, I can't say, you know, I did it playing basketball again. I was like, hey, man, went on a skiing trip. You know, it's the wintertime. And yeah, I think I might have torn my ACL. No problem. Go to the doctor. See, you know what I'm saying? Go to the doctor. See what they say. Go to the doctor. It's a partial tear again. You would think I learned from now. You know, like, hey.
Which knee was it? Was it
my left knee, my jump knee. Once again, yeah, and the left
again. After a full reconstruction, you got another partial tear.
Partial tear.
On your left knee.
Get back into things feeling good. We go to Kentucky. First,
kind of knew what to expect, not to cut you off, but you kind of knew what to expect with the first rehab, and this one's maybe not being as intense.
Yeah,
since it was a partial tear instead of a full tear. Was there surgery involved in the partial tear?
No surgery. Just building, once again, rest and building the muscles around it. I did that. Probably didn't do it as long as I should have again, but you know, after what I experienced, I'm like, man, I'm ready to jump. So first indoor meet, they asked me, are you good? I said, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not good. I'm good. We were in Kentucky, cold. I think it was in the single digits. Warming up, jumping, and something doesn't feel right again. Don't say nothing. I think I cleared 6'4", like on my third attempt, which I usually come in at 6'6". 6'6" comes around, I'm struggling at it. First attempt, missed it. Second attempt, missed it. Third attempt, like I tried to muster everything I had into it. Like I said, my knee, I knew something was off. Plant, fly right into the pit. ACL, for sure. Tore it. I even had my old coach calling me like, hey, man, you only jumped 6'4"? And I'm like, yeah, man, I tore my ACL. Thanks for bringing it up. You know? And he didn't know. He was like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, you know. Yeah, so I'm over here limping around at single degree weather in Kentucky. Just like, man, again. And like I said, man, that one hurt me the most because I knew I could have done something like my senior year. I was ready, back to 100. So that one really hurt. No.
I'm gonna give you a moment to.
Yeah, no, man. Listen, I remember in my coach's room, man. There were some tears shed because me and him both knew, like, man, even if it wasn't in the high jump, I was about to put something crazy out there in the long jump. Like I was feeling good. So yeah, it was a little rough.
You've been through this entire journey, your 4 years, and you're almost at the mountaintop, and almost like right when you get in there, you know, these injuries happen repeatedly. So I can understand, you know, the disappointment, maybe frustration. All right, was there questions for God at that time?
Man, so
and where were you in your spiritual walk at that point? Was it still like your freshman year, or was it something more of a longing to be able to? Maybe
I think
a little bit about that.
Definitely the party had slowed down. Partying slow. I wasn't, you know, what Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know what I mean? I was older, and I think it was more. I was more on like, hey man, all right, college is like about to end now. It's like I was in high school. What's my next step? You know what I mean? So I was just more worried about, man, what's my next step? You know, and I still had a year of eligibility left. And so no, was I thinking about God at the time? No, I was not. I was just thinking about what's my next move? You know, where do I go from here? Not leaning on him at all. Still about me. You know what I mean? But I mean, would I still have thoughts, you know, going on like, hey man, you know, you should be at church, you know, you should be doing, that stuff was still hitting me, you know, but at that moment, I was just like, man, well, I need to get back on this track and see what I could put out there. I need to do, what's my next move, you know? Yeah.
So after your senior year, what are you looking at as far as career wise? What was the goal once you knew you weren't gonna qualify for the Olympics and whatever dreams that you might have had athletically? I'm assuming you had come to terms that was done.
Yeah. So, um, I started looking into uh different ways, like different things I could do to maybe get this year eligibility. And something that came across me was a accelerated program to get your teaching certificate. And I always joked around like with my family, like, hey man, yeah, I'm gonna be a PE teacher if anything, because I love sports. I'll be a PE teacher. And so that kind of came across. And when I started applying and stuff and talking to my coaches, they were like, this is like an accelerated program. It's not really, you're not gonna be really a full-time student. So we can't really you don't have the eligibility. And at that time I was also done with school, like I was in business administration, which doesn't mean much, you know what I mean? So,
It's just a degree kind of to
right.
Yep.
Like what am I gonna do? Go into business? I could do that without it, Um, so yeah, so then I said, let me try this out. And I got enrolled in the course. My father helped pay for it, and he was always about education. And so I started doing field experience at Ponce de Leon. I think it was Palmetto, and the teachers in there were telling me, hey, you don't have to do this. You could just go. You got
You
a
didn't even
degree.
have to take the course.
Yeah, you have a degree. You could just go take the test and be certified. Well, hold on, let's back up, because when I was at Ponce, they one of the classes made me teach a class, and now I'm not as nervous, but back in the day, being 20, 21 years old, man, I was nervous to talk in front of people. So when they wanted me to teach this lesson, I had prepped for it, but boy, my heart wasn't beating out of my chest, man, beating out of my chest. And when I got up there, Lewis, when I tell you, I could just stop. And I was just talking to the kids, flowing with the lesson. And I was like, wow, this is something I could do. I was like, actually, amazed. Like, wow, I wasn't nervous. I didn't stutter my words. So that's when I was like, man, I can maybe do this teaching thing, Yeah. So the teachers told me, hey, man, you don't need to do this. Go get certified. So I went and go take the test, to get my temporary certificate.
So you feel like you found your calling with teaching?
Okay, so at the time, once again, Louis, I was about me, man. I was like, man, whoa, I'm good at this. I'm this, Now being older, man, looking back, at all the gifts God has given me, even to my jumping ability, even to my teaching ability, like credit to God, man. I'm a really good teacher. My scores are always good. I always have a good relationship with my students. And even now, I teach Bible study to middle school kids on Wednesday nights.
Awesome.
But like these are just talents, gifts God has blessed me with. Even all the doors, like to just this road that led me to teaching. That led me to UM. That got me to stop playing basketball my senior year. Looking back at it, and it was just like, man, he paved the road for me to get where I'm at right now.
That's awesome.
But at the time, no, I was I thinking that? No, definitely
Not at all.
not at all. Not at all.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your first teaching experience and how that was and how that how that developed into where you're at, currently?
All right, so so I had my middle school teacher, Ms. Gordon. She taught at Northwest Christian. She was teaching at Edison Middle at the time, which is not there no more. It's like iPrep or something. And I don't know. I think she heard from the church that I was trying to teach. So she calls me up and like, hey, we got this spot open for you. I was like, yeah, man, I'm not. I think I'm working at Smoothie King at the time, like a manager at Smoothie King or something. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. So I go. Come to find out, they had about 5 teachers in there before me. These kids were off the chain. And I'm like, I'm from Miami. I'm like, hey, man, y'all not going to get me up out of here. you know.
So what you're saying is that they had ran out like 4 or 5 teachers before you?
Before me, correct. But I see why. And, it's funny. To this day, I always say, man, I wish I had that class now. I said, well, y'all wouldn't act like that now. Being a senior in the game, because I've been teaching 15, 16 years now. But let me tell you, once again, learning experience. Because if you could teach there, you could teach literally anywhere. I taught there. I finished out the year. It was like half the year. And then I got picked up at Alapata Middle School, which, once again, not the best middle school, but rough atmosphere. But it was nothing compared to what I was used to. So I was like, hey man, it's not too bad.
Yeah. So for lack of a better terms, you was in the hood teaching.
I was in the hood, 100%. But yes, you got Alapata.
Yeah, maybe you don't have the same supervision or just growing up in rough environments and they're acting out in school, and you were able to manage that pretty well to the point where you were unshaken. Even if you had your challenges, you felt like you were there for a reason.
Yeah, no, for sure. Listen, man, them kids, man, deep down inside, they're good kids, man, and they were just looking for like a role model. You know what I'm saying? Or just something different than what they're used to. You know what I mean? Yeah, kids gonna be kids at the end of the day.
So how are things in your spiritual walk at this point in your life when you're starting to teach already and you're starting your adulthood, so to speak, after your college days?
Okay, so funny story, man. Now I got no ACLs. No, sorry. You know what? Actually, my senior year, I did get they paid for the surgery again.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I got back, and once again playing basketball, tore it again. So right now I have no ACLs. Yeah. Okay, and I said I'm not getting surgery no more. So at this time, yes, I'm a little older, and I told myself, man, I feel like at 40 years old, I'm gonna be in a wheelchair, man. I got to start having some kids because I want to be there for them. I want to play basketball with them. I want to play stuff with them, and then also, I'm dating, and I'm just trying to get serious, and then also, man, looking back at everything I was doing, and going to church more now, and the words started hitting me a little harder, and I just remember like hearing one message, and I remember when the pastor was like, "Hey man, at the end, if anybody wants to come up here, you know what I'm saying, and talk to me, I'll be here." And I remember going up and talking to the pastor, and then that's when I was like, "Hey man, listen, now looking back, the Holy Spirit was always talking to me, you know what I'm saying, and telling me like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. Hey, you should be going to church, all this stuff, little by little, and then now like it was really hitting me like, hey, I got to get serious." I wasn't serious before. And so, yeah, I would say probably when I was maybe 25, 26, I was 2011. I remember when I got baptized a couple weeks later from when I talked to the pastor. And that's when I was like, man, okay, let me get serious.
So the pastor did an altar call, is what you call it, after they're done with a sermon in most Christian churches. Not after not after every sermon, but some sermons they'll do what you call an altar call, and if anyone's going through whatever the pastor preached about at that particular moment, and feels it in their spirit, right, through the Holy Spirit, they'll go up and you'll pray and you'll kind of talk it out a little bit.
Yeah,
is what I gather, right?
Yeah, for sure. And they all. That whole church knew me since I was in the 6th grade, you know what I mean? And I did all at chapel, say this prayer, and I said all those prayers, when it talked to people, but it was until, like I said, man, I was like 25, 26, and it just God really opened up my eyes, opened up my heart, and I was like, man, I just got to get serious, And then, like I said, I was looking for a wife. I was looking to start a family, man. I was like, I don't know how long I'm gonna be walking good, Praise God, I'm still kicking, right?
Still kicking.
My leg's still good, holding up,
Yeah, if you were thinking about having kids and what you were going to be able to do with your kids or not, you don't want to get too up there in age where the injuries that you had could affect your activity with your future kids.
So we didn't talk too much about my dad, but he was older. I mean, he had me like when he was like 50, you know, and we didn't have the best relationship, but I wanted something different from that. You know what I mean? I wanted to be there for them in every aspect of their lives, not just like, you know, financially or school. You know, like I wanted to be there for everything. So yeah, I mean that played his role, yeah, as well.
So as you submitted and surrendered to the Lord, right, to Jesus, at this point you got baptized, so you were born again.
Hmm.
Is what baptism means in Christ. Uh, can you speak a little bit about what he put in your path as far as your heart's desires at that time? You're already teaching, and you had, you know, your college career, athletics were not fully in the back burner because we, you know, you're competitive and you still found some runs here and there.
Yeah,
But as far as life and what you wanted out of life, can you tell us a little bit about that? You said you dated a little bit.
yeah. So my wife ain't gonna like that tell the story, but I'm gonna tell it. So I mentioned one of my teammates, Paco. He was my boy since the 6th grade. I'm talking about like, you
You
know,
went to the same school, Miami Northwest
yeah,
Christian.
but it wasn't like, you know, I know him. Oh yeah, we were
One of your closest friends.
yeah, he was a brother before he was my brother, you know. Um, he has 2 sisters, and they were big names. They were both athletic, and you know, all the guys wanted to talk to him. And you know, back then I wasn't that guy. You know, I was skinny. You know, I wasn't confident in myself. You know,
You were a late bloomer. Let's just say that.
there you go, there you go. And on top of all that, this is my best friend's sisters. They're off limits. I'm not even looking that way. I didn't even really talk to them. You know, you know. Um, so you know, she had a similar college experience, and she had a son in college. And you know, I'm still close with Paco and his family. Even his dad was my coach, you know, and then baseball and stuff. And so I'd always be over there. And one time, oh sorry, the girl I was dating at the time, she was from Ohio, and she didn't have a lot of friends.
Okay.
So I was like, hey man, you know, my boy Paco has a sister. They're good people. I know their whole family good people. Like, why don't you, you know, talk to them, you know, see if they want to hang out or something. So me and that girl break up, and I got invited to her son's birthday party. So we're there talking, and she had brought a coworker. And you know, I'm just messing with her, and I was like, hey man, tell your coworker I said what's up, you know, because she knows I broke up with this girl. And she's like, no, man, you just had a relationship. She's like, if you want someone to hang out with, I'll hang out with you.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, all right, we can hang out. You know,
So she shot her shot, is what you're saying?
which, you know, that's what I think, but you know, she might have some a different opinion.
Okay.
So you know, I hit her up. We're talking. You know,
We'll let her tell it. Well,
Yeah. It might go a little different, but yeah, all right, this is my side. She's like, I was like, hey, let's hang out. She'll tell you that, oh yeah, I thought we were gonna hang out with a bunch of people. She pulls up, it's just me and her. And I'm like, hey, let's go, you know, it's like Blue Martini, something like a little bar or something. Let's go. There was nothing going on there. She worked at the hotels and stuff, like security for her father and stuff. So she had to hook up at Live. We ended up going to Live one random night. We're just in there talking and stuff and having a good time. And after that night, you know, I take her home, whatever. After that, it was nonstop texting. We had a good time, and it was like, man, and we vibed. It was just, it was
natural.
Yeah.
it was not.
Now looking back, like God put her, you know, the time frame and her, it just like worked out.
It worked out.
So yeah, so then like we ended up going on a cruise. No one knows we were talking kind of before. It was like a alumni cruise, you know, like a reunion cruise. And you know, like everyone's like, hey, what's going on with Lucy and Elon? Because you know,
So
like,
this is alumni for high school?
for high school. Yeah, it was like high school. Yeah, you know, we had a small school, so it was, you know, it's just like the 05, 03, 04, 03 class, like 05 and 03 really.
Yeah.
So yeah, like we go sneak away, do our own thing, talk, you know, and we got to talking because we had such a similar story about college, you know, and then also, you know, we both grew up in the Northwest Christian and being exposed to that life in college. So we had so much to talk about, you know, and the similarities, and man, it just clicked. And then I just remember having to, one night go out with Paco, like, hey man, let's go out. We gotta talk. And I remember just telling him, hey man, me and Lucy kind of talking, man. Things are getting a little serious, but like I said, that's my brother. Shoot, we always held each other accountable throughout college. And so he knew the difference of how I was before and how I am now.
So how you had matured, you had given your life to Christ, and you were serious.
And I was serious, yeah. And he knew I was serious. He knew what I was looking for. So he was like, "Yo, my blessings, man. You know what I'm saying? You're my brother." So yeah, man. That started another chapter in my life, man, which was a blessing. She's a blessing to me, and that's just another door God opened for me.
So how was the proposal and leading into that?
I think I did on New Year's, and I remember talking to her parents, Frank and Margie. But like I said, I know them since 6th grade.
So conversation wasn't as difficult as most.
No, that was still never.
Your mother and father lost, but still, you're asking for their hand in marriage, and that's their little girl. So I'm sure there was some.
So no, man. It was. People say, like, they'll say it was a cheat code, man, because I said it, and they're like, of course, man, you family already,
Ready.
So yeah, man, it just all it's funny how it all worked out. Never, if you ask anybody, even my mom, because she knows Lucy. She's like, Lucy, dude, what a thing. She always says that every time I see her, But yeah, man, I feel like God put her, in my life for a reason,
Absolutely.
Yep.
And fast forward, you get married, and now you have 2 healthy, handsome boys.
Yes, sir. My boys,
Carlo and Gianno.
Yep.
10 and 8. How is that being a father to 2 boys now?
Listen, man, everything I expected. They just the love you get from them. You know what I mean? Like, you can't describe it, And just like I said, man, being there in every aspect of their life, and being able to mentor them and teach them like things no one taught me. I had to go figure it out on my own. That's like college, and this and that, and just being there to mentor them, man, and just try to teach them, learn from my mistakes, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But make your own mistake, but I'm here for you, kind of thing. It's been a blessing, man. I'm blessed, man. Truly blessed.
All right. So you mentioned about things being about yourself throughout the whole process, high school and college. Is there a verse that sticks out to you after you decided to give your life to Christ and surrender to Jesus and get baptized?
Yeah. So I made so my first tattoo I ever got, I wanted to mean something. And after I got baptized, I was like, man, I was looking for a verse that really, really stuck out, that summed up, my life. And so I have it here. It's Galatians 2:20. And it just talked about, you've been crucified with Christ. You no longer live, but Christ lives in you. And it was just kind of like, man, the whole time at the whole time, through my life, I'm living for me. And I was just doing things that benefit me, that just, that I wanted to do. And now I'm looking at it now, man, changing my life, and then just like, man, now the things I do now it's nothing
for you.
about me, man. It's all about God, man, and glory to Him, and how to bring all that glory to Him.
Amen to that, man. If you don't mind, I'm gonna read the verse in Galatians 2:20. It says, "I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave Himself for me on the cross."
Amen.
All right.
Well, I mean, that's why, Louis, that's why, man, when you said you wanted to do this, man, I was, I don't like the limelight on me. I don't.
But it's not about us,
It's
brother.
about us, man. That's why when you said you wanted to do it, man, I'm all for it, bro. I'm going to support it, especially if it's bringing, glory to God, man. I'm going to support it.
I appreciate you, Elans, sharing your story and getting personal and even reliving some difficult moments, some dark moments, I'm sure, for you with all the injuries you had and your journey. But I really feel like this is going to bless some people, anybody who's gone through any serious injuries and is questioning their faith or God, or just even themselves or their purpose, this is living proof right here that through perseverance, through hard work, through faith, through a humble spirit, and positive spirit, which you had, and allowed you to keep your scholarships. You were able to get through that, and I think we can all say that God has blessed you in a great way. Now you're teaching and you're helping mentor kids and sharing in the word. So keep doing what you're doing, brother. It's been a pleasure.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for joining the Underground Sports Guru show. And that's a wrap on episode 2. Yes, sir.
Little
Underground sports guru, speaking from the soul, yeah, we need you. Calling every play with a purpose, turning every field to a service. We're running this race, you lead us.